All right, let's do this question and answer time. I'm going to drink some soda while we talk. St. Louis region soda. Cane sugar. I did a Q&A thing a while back where I was asking people who were interested, and I did find it, and I got a couple questions from that, so I'm going to go over those first. First of all, a lot of good questions, so thank you very much for those good questions. Slime Ghost. How did you meet Nathaniel Paul Hitz or Nate and become Brock? Well, somebody else asked that question, but essentially I auditioned for it and I got it, and I'll continue the story later when I get to the other question. Vivaldi the second Reptiles and Amphibians asked, "Do you play the Endless Ocean games?" No, I do not. I played them a lot when they first came out, and I got to the conclusion of them and basically did everything I could do in the games, and then made a whole bunch of YouTube videos about it, and that was it. I think the Wii is downstairs with all my video games. We don't have a video game room yet, so we don't really have an upstairs yet. So those are in the basement along with all my other video games. At some point in time, it'll be a lot more accessible to be able to play all at once, but right now, pretty much the Switch and my computer is the systems we have active, though I think there might be a 3DS. Yes, there's a 3DS running around here right now. So, but no, I haven't played the Endless Ocean games in a long time, though I have met more people that play Endless Ocean. I have at least one coworker and maybe two that played it, so I wish they would make another one. There's definitely games I see out there advertising themselves as being inspired by this and this, and I'm like, you were inspired by Endless Ocean, man. That's part of the reason you exist. So, but no, Vivaldi, I don't currently play the Endless Ocean game. Jack, who has a couple questions, but who asked a question a while ago. Have you played the Isle of Armor downloadable content for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and what are your thoughts on the Jurassic World movies so far? I covered the Jurassic World movies in a way. You probably didn't know that when you answered the question, but I really liked the first Jurassic World. The second one, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan. It felt like two different movies that were crammed together, and it was hard to go from the first one to the second one. It felt like it should have been the opposite, or it felt like they should have had different ideas or something. So, first Jurassic World, really liked it. Second one, not so much. I haven't played the Isle of Armor downloadable content. I wanted to get it for my camera one for Christmas, but with some stuff that I'll talk about in a video coming soon, money was tight, so I didn't get her that. I got her something else, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is right now. I don't think it was Animal Crossing. We limited ourselves this year to how much we would spend on each other for Christmas and birthday, and man, I'm forgetting. It was a card game and I think a board game and something else, but it wasn't Pokemon. So at some point, she really liked that game and I really liked that game. So at some point we will, but it's been a very busy year with all kinds of boring things that we should have never had to deal with. On to the questions that you guys supplied. A whole bunch of really good questions. Chief Dancing Ostrich, how are the books coming? You are a brilliant author. Thank you. The books are going well. I am working on the fifth book. It is about 40,000 words right now, so it's probably about 2/3 the way done. I worked a lot on it, and November. If you don't know, I tend to take November and write every day in November to like push through. Usually gets about like 12,000, 14,000 words or so. So this book's been kind of weird in that I haven't been writing it like linearly. I haven't been writing it like front to back. Usually I do that, and this time because I wanted to get further in sections and I was stuck on a part, I started jumping around. So typically when I write, there's like, not to spoil anything, but there's parts of the book that are like self-contained, so they may not necessarily follow immediately after what precedes them or what follows. So this one had more of those sections, so I was writing those, and then I had a chunk at the end that I started from a certain spot I knew I was gonna go from, and I was writing like from the beginning. So at this point I've caught up from the beginning through a lot of those like self-contained sections, and I am getting closer and closer to that chunk I had at the end. So it's not all of the ending sequence, but I had the ending and a big chunk, and like, so yeah, filling out the back half of the book to finish it. I'm sure I will probably finish the first draft this year, and who knows when it will come out, but it's definitely a different one. It kind of feels like a dream in a way. There's a lot of like there's a lot of psychological stuff. There's a lot of character relationship stuff. So there are some scenes in there that like I envisioned in my head, and they were like big deals, and I was like nervous about how they were gonna go, and I think so far they're going pretty well. I definitely am liking how one scene turned out, but I'm about to do the fallout of that in writing, so we'll see how that works out. So next question from the Time 67. He has a couple of questions. Time, long time commenter. Most of you guys that are commenting are long time commenters, so definitely thank you for following and for the questions. Yeah, a couple questions. One, what is something you and your partner did not expect or were surprised by when it came to becoming parents? Maybe something someone never warned you about or talked about. So many things, dude. Like, so there's a lot of things you're warned about, there's a lot of things you're worried about, a lot of things you aren't warned about. There's a lot of things that you don't really understand until you're like living through it. And you read it in the books, and you know it's a thing, but you're just not really like totally prepared for it. Things that people didn't tell me about is a shorter answer, so I may as well say that. Children go to the bathroom. That's obviously a thing. I think people oversold like the poo and undersold the urine, right? So I'm a zookeeper. Poo is like whatever. Like today I cleaned up all variety of gross things that you probably wouldn't want to know about. So baby poop, it's not really that big a deal to me. Since we use reusable diapers for the most part, I don't think I was prepared for like the smell of like day-old hamper full of reusable diapers, or even like a 2-day-old hamper full of reusable diapers. That was like strong. Sometimes I think I don't have a great sense of smell, and that is always like a really good like reminder that I can smell things, because that definitely doesn't smell so good. But when it comes about the things that like I knew about but I didn't really understand, or like or wouldn't experience the way I would think it would experience, I think just like the time issue. Like everyone tells you like everything takes longer, but you're not really like, you don't really understand it till you're in it, and you're like, okay, it takes this long to go out the door to go to the thing, or like I'm gonna have this much free time, and like sometimes that free time is going to be shaped by the circumstances of your child's situation. So like with our house and the way our kid is working right now, she sleeps in the bedroom right over there. So post her sleeping, we are usually in here with like the lights off and the noise isn't so loud. So that's dictated like what we do. It's like video games or like watching Netflix or anime or whatever. Or I'm on the computer like writing and stuff like that. So still things I certainly enjoy, but like other things would mean like if I wanted to do Legos in the basement, I would be basically doing Legos by myself in the basement, which is like, you want to spend time with your significant other, so you're not doing that. I'm not making YouTube videos because my voice when I'm making YouTube videos is pretty loud, so that would wake her up very, very much. So that doesn't happen. What else? We thought we were going to be able to do more around the house, like when it comes to like remodeling or whatever, or like finishing the upstairs room. Like we were like, oh yeah, we're going to have some help, and we're definitely going to finish the upstairs, and she's going to live up there or sleep up there at a certain point in time. And that just like hasn't happened yet, man. Like it really is like a marathon, and sometimes it's difficult to get substantial things done, really. So that's definitely been something I didn't totally understand. Next question from Time is about zookeeping and veterinarian stuff. He is asking, I believe you're he, sorry if I'm wrong about that. Since you're a zookeeper, I was wondering if you interact much with your zoo's veterinarian, or if I ever considered wanting to become or pursue that career myself. Time is in vet school right now, and they've thought about that specialization before. They know it's quite a long process. Okay, so I've worked at a few zoos. In some zoos, I don't have much of a relationship with the veterinarian because there's so many zookeepers and so many animals, and so many vets that I wouldn't necessarily see them or interact with them that much. But I've also worked at zoos where there's like a vet, like a single vet and like a vet tech. But there's the case of the aquarium I worked at. It's the case of the zoo I work at right now. So there's only like 18 of us zookeepers, so we're pretty involved in like the vet stuff, and that like if one of my animals is having a procedure, I am there and assisting with it. I might be holding the mask. I might be helping maneuver the animal. So we have a pretty close working relationship with our vet in that regard. It's not the same at every zoo, but I think in a lot of the smaller zoos, like if you have a full-time vet and you don't have that many zookeepers, then yeah, they're gonna know each other pretty well. I've never thought about becoming a veterinarian. I didn't do super great in college. I had a really bad like first year, so like academically, I don't think that ever really would have been a possibility. And if it wasn't a possibility academically, it probably wasn't going to be a possibility financially either in my situation. So I never really thought about that. Hey man, you're in vet school. That's cool. It's an interesting specialization because like especially at our zoo, like our vet has to be knowledgeable about everything. She has to work with everything from like penguins to rhinos to snakes to birds to Sitatunga. There's a whole lot of information she needs to know, and like if she doesn't have it, she needs to figure it out pretty fast. So I know zoo vets find it rewarding, but it can also be pretty tough, especially if you're the only one, because you're like dealing with all the good things that ever happen and all the bad things that ever happen. And I know it's real as a zookeeper in general, or a zoo vet in general, it's real easy to like blame yourself for everything that goes wrong. So that can definitely be difficult. It's it can also be very rewarding, and like you never and busy and different, and you never really know what's going to happen. And obviously your job can change a lot depending on what's going on. So one thing that has benefited zoo vets too sometimes is that if they work for a city, sometimes they can have some of their student loans forgiven. I think there's a process where you can get like up to 50,000, 10,000 each year forgiven. So that's definitely like a bonus if you work at a zoo as a zoo vet. Sometimes the money isn't as good as other things, or so I hear. So yes, the cat is here as well. Lucky Threes Production. How do you stay motivated to post videos on YouTube? Sometimes I don't. What made you, sometimes I don't. I guess I'll talk a little bit more after I say it. What made you want to start your own channel? And what do you do now that you didn't think you would have done back then before writing books, starting a family, etc.? What do I do now I didn't think I would have done back then? Starting a family. Do you have any particular plans you want to have set in motion for the future, whether it be your channel or life in general? Thanks. Some questions. Honestly, it's hard to stay motivated to post videos on YouTube because I feel like I'm like bad at it, and I don't have like I don't have some of the technology that would make it like a better video or like more professional or stuff like that. At the moment, and especially in the past, like I have this camera right now, which is really good. But I used to be able to like edit videos. I used to be able to have some software to do that. I don't really have that capability right now, and I don't have the desire to like pay to be able to do that. So yeah, I feel like there's people out there that have like more free time and more tech and more equipment that are like way better at it than I am. So it's hard to like stay motivated to do something you think you're not as good at or can create good things for. So that is one part. Right now, I think I think I stay motivated by like the way I'm doing things right now. I like have ideas, and then when I finally do them, I have like a backlog of ideas, and then I like bust them out. So that in itself is kind of motivating to like see if I can do it. Why did I start the channel is also kind of like the motivation thing. I started the channel because I was bored and I had the ability to like create stuff. So I did. I think the busiest times on this channel are times that I need like an outlet to express myself in a way, or I need like to communicate something to someone that's not there in real life at the time. So like when I first started it, I was like, I had just moved to St. Louis, so I was just like basically expressing myself however I could, and that's what resulted as the videos online, basically. So I had a camera after graduation that could record videos, and that was kind of the gist of it. I was like, oh man, I can record videos on YouTube and make whatever I want. Of course, making whatever you wanted with that wasn't like the most complex thing in the world, but it was fun. What do I do now that I didn't think I would have done back then? I mean, writing books was a thing. Having a full-time job as a zookeeper was definitely like a thing I hoped would happen, but I wasn't sure if it would. It didn't seem like it was happening for a long time, so you know, that was the thing. I'm really hoping this video doesn't cut off. It's still going. That's good. So yeah, writing a book. Like when I figured out I could do it, like I did it, and I didn't think there was a way to do that back then. So I think when I started the YouTube channel, it wasn't super far from like starting to write it, but I can't remember if I started it knowing there was an avenue to do it, like a self-printing thing. But yeah, I just don't know the answer to that if I knew that. But is there anything else I'm doing right now that I am surprised by? I guess just the career and like the writing stuff, and even having a family. Like, you know, you hoped it would happen, but you know, you never knew. Do you have any particular plans set in motion for the future? There's a lot of stuff going on around the house right now that we're trying to get into shape. Basically, our house is in remodel, and then something bad happened to it, so that is a thing that's being worked on this year. And then just raising the kid and like not screwing that up is a lot, but finishing books, I keep telling myself I am going to try to pitch the book from my first book for real. Probably a combination of the first two books as like a real, like, you know, fantasy book to like actually try to like publish for real, but I keep chickening out of it. So that's like a thing I probably should do at some point in time. And it's a big thing. Next question is from my mom wishes I was never born because I capitalized every word in the sentence. I said the whole thing. We probably get a lot of these questions, but what made you start doing Pokemon Pals, and do you still do acting? I don't get these questions a lot, to be honest. I get a lot, or back in the day, I got a lot of like, when is more Pokemon Pals going to be made? So, how did I become Brock? What made me want to start doing Pokemon Pals is kind of like the same question. I was in St. Louis, and the St. Louis metropolitan area seems to have like a pretty strong community theater scene. So I'd done theater in college and choir in high school and theater in high school, and graduated, moved to St. Louis for work. I was walking around like the dying mall in Crestwood Court, and there was an advertisement for like tryouts for Oklahoma at this local community theater that was practicing in the mall because the mall was doing so badly that it had opened himself up to pretty much whoever would like rent something. So a lot of community theaters, the guy showing off his model fire trucks, costume shop, basically whatever would go in there, card shop, like anything would get a store. So Marvel Stage was the theater. We did Oklahoma. I think we did it like the local. It was like a church high school. It was like high school or church, something like that. That's where we performed it. We practiced it in the mall. That was how I got involved in community theater in St. Louis. And there was something called STLauditions.com. So community theaters would have like audition announcements there, or if someone was like filming a commercial or wanted to do like a music video or whatever, people would post it. So it'd be like legitimate theaters, community theater, and whoever. Well, Nate was one of the whoever. He posted on STLaudition.com for this live action parody Pokemon series, and I saw it there because I was looking and I was applying because that was a time where I wanted to do more theater and I wasn't as employed as I could have been, so I was trying to find fun things to do, and I saw it and was like, Pokemon Pals, live action Pokemon parody series. I'm going to regret not like trying out for this. So I tried out for it. I read for Brock, and I can't remember what else I read for. Some of the other like funny characters, like there was like one-off characters that we had, whether it was like Alakazam or the Hunter guy or whatever. I can't really remember what they were at this time, and those were like the final drafts of stuff. But Brock was the role I got, and there was someone else that was competing for it. So basically, if they didn't know me at all, I don't think Nate really knew much of anyone. He had some kind of production partner that left before I started, and that guy wanted somebody else to be Brock. That somebody else, I think his name was Chris. He was various characters in Pokemon Pals, like the Hunter guy, the hilarious Hunter guy. I think he was like a preacher. I think he was the voice of Alakazam. He was always hilarious in all these roles, and he was really fun to work with. But he could have been Brock, and he probably would have been a very good Brock. But Nate went with me, and I guess the rest is history. I don't know. But yeah, I guess the short story is I was involved in community theater in St. Louis. I saw this advertisement on like a St. Louis area audition page and was like, well, I have to do that. And that's how I became Brock, basically. Do I still do acting? No, it, okay, so I have a full-time job now. Once I left St. Louis, I had a full-time job, and I moved to different places, right? And I've I never really got involved in community theater again. Like once I got involved in community theater in St. Louis, I like got gigs at different places for like technical work as like a stagehand or whatever, and like a community college theater, like an overhire theater at the Black Rep for some random lighting stuff. And I made money and I made connections and I got involved in stuff. And I had like it seemed like there were various ways I could do theater. I even did like this Irish play for like St. Charles's like Irish festival or something one time, and I got paid for that. That was cool, just a little bit of money, but it covered renter's insurance. Um, when I moved to New Jersey and then to Omaha, like I wasn't there long enough to really like get involved in it or have the time to. I never like pierced the veil of like, the local theater scene. So I don't really know how hard it would have been to get in the local theater scene, but I just didn't. And now where we're at now, it's like a smaller city, and I know it's out there, and I actually know somebody that is involved in it, so I guess I could, but at this point, there's just like not a lot of time. So maybe when my daughter is older, or wants to get into theater or something, or maybe I will again, but I don't have any plans at this time. I probably suck at acting right now, to be honest. Like, I haven't done it in a while, and sometimes I feel like more like frigid or like emotionless in my face sometimes, even with like the palsy. I don't know, that may have been a thing here, so I haven't thought about like trying to act and if my face would be harder for it to work. Probably not. I'm probably self-conscious about it, but yeah, not acting right now. What time are we at? 27 minutes? Okay. Riku the Ew, if I'm saying that right. Have you kept in contact with the actors from Pokemon Pals? What are they doing now, if you know? I don't think I'm going to answer that because I don't know everything, and that's kind of their own personal business what they're doing now. Also, would you be willing to do a Pokemon Pals reunion special of some sort if given the opportunity? Yes, I've kept in contact with the actors from Pokemon Pals, but like mostly through Facebook. Mostly through Facebook. The main people in the cast were like by the end of it was like me and AJ and Nate and Paige, obviously. There were other people like involved in it though. And now that I think about it, a lot of them were like involved in community theater too, so I actually like kind of knew them outside of Pokemon Pals. But I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, keep in contact with like Nate and AJ and Paige through Facebook mostly. Paige a little bit less. She's not on Facebook as much, and yeah, she's not on Facebook as much. I think everyone but AJ kind of like left at some point in time. It was filmed in the St. Louis metropolitan area, but Nate moved away. He went to a couple places for entertainment, pursuing entertainment opportunities and stuff like that. I think he's moving back to Missouri soon, but I think he's moving to Kansas City. Don't quote me on that. AJ's still in the St. Louis area. I think he's doing pretty good now. He's going back to school, and I think he's doing good for himself in his personal life. I don't know a whole lot about what Paige is doing. I think she moved away to Texas and then came back for various reasons. And I think she's got a nice career going for her, and I think she's actually pursued a pretty high level of education. But would I be willing to do a Pokemon Pals reunion special? Yeah, it's just kind of like it would kind of be weird timing, I guess you could say, especially now with the pandemic. Nate actually was like trying to do something for like 10 years, and then just like the entire world collapsed in on itself. But uh, we would all have to be in the same place at the same time, so probably. So it'd be a matter of timing, and like I would have to get off work and stuff like that, and would it be worth it to use vacation time? And visiting St. Louis would certainly be worth vacation time, but yeah, it would have to be a certain, the stars would have to align, I guess you could say. Um, yeah, various community theater stuff. Um, Brock's wife was my coworker Nandini. I worked with her at the zoo. There was, I can't remember her name, but she was like, she was either like, she was the character that had like the magneton stuck to her butt. Like she was in theater. I like saw her in some plays and stuff, and we went out on a date one time and was like, oh, you ended up in Pokemon Pals as well. I'm trying to think if there was anyone else that, we had people that were in like the anime convention group in St. Louis that were in an episode, and some people like connected to us from that way. So there was a few people from like theater stuff that ended up in in uh, in Pokemon Pals. All right, Jack, I think is the last question. Yes, Jack is the last question. Recently, I was looking back to my YouTube comments and was shocked to see that I was commenting on your vids as far back as early 2012. Yeah, I've been around a while. I'm 27 years old and am trying to remain optimistic about turning 30 in the not so far future. I was wondering how that experience was for you and whether it's changed you in some ways or if life just went on as usual. I would say in general, life moved on as usual. It's just a number, man. But I could say that knowing that when I was turning 30 or getting close to turning 30, first of all, I didn't have a full-time job in my field until I was 26. So, like, when I was getting close to 30, like, I was getting ready to leave a job that I wasn't particularly enjoying in a place that I wasn't particularly enjoying. So I felt a little better turning 30, knowing that I was about to leave that place. I had basically a job waiting for me here, the job I'm currently in, but since it takes so long to like go through all the paperwork and the medical stuff or whatever, like I knew before I turned 30 that I had the job and I didn't leave until like a couple months after I turned 30, but I knew when I was turning 30 I was getting into a job that would pretty much offer me a lot of stability and a lot of ability to get varied experience, not be so pigeonholed in a certain part of zookeeping. So I knew I had it made, and I was also getting to a spot with insurance where I could support like my wife in whatever she was doing. So it made it a lot easier to turn 30 knowing that all that stuff was going to happen. But it's not like January 1st rolled around. I was born on January 1st. And like anything really like changed me, I guess. So I don't know if that's great advice, but well, now I'm thinking like if I was turning 30 and that wasn't happening, I don't know. I think it still would have been just another day. There's a lot of big things in life that I feel like aren't as big as we all make them out to be. Like even when we had our kid, it was kind of like not like it didn't really particularly like change me or anything. It was just kind of like there's a scene in Dogma, the movie, where the voice of God is telling the main character like, it's not like you changed, you just had this added information about yourself, and that's what it felt like to turn 30 or have the kid or buy the house or like whatever. Now you're just this slightly different identity in a way. And that's all the questions. That is a 34-minute video. I hope that loads to YouTube. I don't even know how their time link's worth right now. I'm gonna enjoy this bottle of Fitz's Cardinal Cream. Thank you for your very good questions. I hope you enjoyed the answers.